Hello and welcome back to Cars of Glasgow, and today I'm going to be talking about and looking at the Bentley Continental GT and Flying Spur, so stay tuned for this video. So the Continental was first launched in 2003 and it was the first Bentley launched under the new Volkswagen ownership. It was launched with a 6-litre W12 engine and it stayed that way until 2010, and this is when the Conti GT received its first significant redesign. And latterly, in 2015, Bentley added a leaner V8 powertrain to this, and this can be spotted by the rear tailpipes, almost like a figure of 8 shape in comparison to the ovals that are given onto the W12 models. So there's 3 main models under the Continental banner, which is the Flying Spur, which is the 4-door saloon, the Continental GT, which is the coupe, and the GTC that came out in 2007, which is the convertible. I'm going to be focusing on the 2 that I drove, which was the Mark I Continental GT Coupe, and then laterally the facelifted V8 Flying Spur. So the first gen Continental that I got to drive was the 6-litre W12, which produces 555 brake horsepower, and all this power goes through all 4 wheels through a comfortable automatic transmission with paddle shifters if you want to go more aggressive into driving. The car oozes class from the moment you step in with the Bentley sill plate, and from the luxury ceiling to the wooden trim, the car just feels like a luxury piece. The coupe is very comfortable out on the road thanks to its air suspension. I'd say it's as pillow soft as any big Land Rover. The power is effortless, and at a touch of a pedal on the gas, you propel this heavy car at unprecedented rates. The car is really a 2+2, as the rear seats, although it's just as luxurious as up front, there's not much near headroom for myself. Of course, this car has the Bentley bullseye chromed ventilation outlets with the organ stops that we've seen and known to love. In the centre of the dash, there's an LCD touchscreen. This allows the driver to control things such as sat-nav, air conditioning and entertainment. So there's some hard buttons for the air suspension, rear spoiler, things like that. So the driver's gauge cluster is a nice pleasant blend of analogue gauges for the tachometer and rev counter with an LCD display panel in the middle there that gives you some driver's information. So I was lucky enough to drive a facelifted Continental Flying Spur V8. This was the 4-litre twin-turbo V8 and it produces 500 brake horsepower, 660 Nm of torque, which gets this limousine to 0 to 60 in 4.9 seconds. This is impressive considering you're carrying TVs, a fridge and big comfy leather chairs, so basically your home contents. So out on the road, the Flying Spur V8 felt big considering I was on the dark English Yorkshire roads that I drove on. The permanent all-wheel drive system gives you that security on the road, so it's pretty good at keeping it grip. You never feel like you're going to oversteer or slide off into a ditch, unlike the BMW M4. So the Flying Spur has 2 traits. If you keep it nice and calm and touch the pedal slowly, it glides and it's very comfortable and you don't feel anything. The windows are insulating you from the experience of the outside world as it's flying past you. But if you put that foot down to the floor, that V8 twin turbo really perks up and throws you against your seat, and it's something else. It's really quite fast. So by opting for the V8, the CO2 falls from 343 grams per kilometre to 254 grams per kilometre, with the claimed fuel economy jumping from 19 miles per gallon to 25 miles per gallon by choosing this V8. However, to put that into perspective, that 6 miles per gallon equates to 520 miles per tank in the V8 versus 376 miles per tank in the W12, so that's roughly a third more. So the good thing is now that the first generation Continental GT, an early model, is going to set you back just below £30,000 for a relatively good one, and just below around the 80 odd thousand you can get the latter 2014, 2015 models. So it's really something to consider depending what market you're looking for. You can get into one of these impressive cars. Do note that the latter W12, the power increased to 616 brake horsepower and 800 Nm of torque. And that also helped with the top speed of 200 miles per hour if you're caring to do that in 0 to 60 in 4.3 seconds in comparison to the 4.9 of the V8. So overall, getting to drive one of my dream cars was amazing. I loved the experience of both of them. If you just look at that smile, you can tell that I was loving it. So I hope all you guys are staying safe during this period of self-isolation and kind of home quarantine. If you would, I'd appreciate it if you guys could subscribe to Cars of Glasgow below. Make sure you give this Bentley video a thumbs up. If you've got any questions on either the models you've seen or anything, please comment below. And also if you actually have a Continental and a newer one, or even a GTC, something I could film once we're out of quarantine, I'd really appreciate that. Get in contact. So I just want to say thanks very much for watching Cars of Glasgow, and I'll see you next video. Ciao. Oh, and before you go, make sure you check us out on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram at Cars of Glasgow. You wouldn't think I would end this video without a joke, would you? What do you call a guy with a car on his head? Jack.